All right. So Natalie, let's use today's video to review a process around creating a job breakdown sheet. Sounds like a bit of a mouthful, but the goal of a breakdown sheet is to inform training. So used in the traditional training within industry, TWI framework, it doesn't replace standard work. So you need obviously all the detailed SOPs and guidelines and work instructions for compliance or for kind of more detailed review of somebody doing it, an operator or otherwise. But the purpose of a job breakdown sheet is almost like the bullet points for your wedding speech. It's reminding you of how to do it, especially when you're training somebody new or that's rotating into that job and is new to that process. So it's meant to be kind of that first line of memory of how to do a certain piece of a task or a process. So I'm going to show you very quickly how we're going to take a traditional format that isn't so intuitive for that purpose of training and then turn that in with the help of ChatGPT into a really nice job breakdown format that we are going to give you some access to. So that's the intent and goal of our couple minutes here. Just briefly on this, wanted to show a little bit about job instruction, and that again is one of the training within industry programs, and that was born out of World War II and all types of history around training millions of people during that wartime of how to come up the curve more quickly of doing the job. And a couple of those hallmark elements within that is really around how do we look across this balanced scorecard of realities that we need to train our people more effectively and do this to make it come to life so that we break out of the cycle of firefighting and only training when we have time, quote unquote, to make it something that we can be proactive about and use strategically as part of the way that we're building our people's skill and obviously engaging them more effectively in their career progression likewise. So the traditional elements of JI are around a training timetable or a plan. So who's on the team and then who needs to be trained on what job. And once we train them well, hopefully we don't have to train them again on that for a matter of time. It's them being able to do it consistently, correctly, safely, and conscientiously using their brain and their heart to do the job well, even when they're not being watched or observed. And then the breakdown sheet is what we need to prepare in order to do that training well. So we have these traditional TWI cards, which give us an explanation of how to do the actual instructing process. But again, on the job breakdown sheet, this is characterized by these three columns. Important steps, so logical segment of the operation. Something happens to advance the work. You can think of that as the value add, perhaps. And then the key points are characterized by these three conditions. So it's something that would injure the person, a safety concern, something that would make or break the job from a quality standpoint, or make it easier to do. And that's around simplifying it, a feel or a knack point, or something specific that once you have that subject matter expertise built up, it makes it easy to pass on when you're doing that instruction process. And then the reasons for each key point obviously come to life as the why. So I like to think of this, these are the what, this is the how with the key points, and then that's obviously your reasons why to make it come to life. So over here on the right-hand side, I've got a standard template that I actually put together many years ago of building out an invoice process within an online cloud accounting software, quite popular. And so, yeah, it's a relevant sheet. It's a nice operation work standard sheet, one of the various forms, and useful in its own right for having somebody do the work, but not very intuitive when you're trying to train with it, especially doing that crisply and sharply as that job instruction format has you do. So what I'd like to try out is taking a new built tool that we have with this ChatGPT, let's call it the Job Breakdown Assistant. And so building just off of a screenshot of this, I can start this process of having it help me pull this together and make this into, again, that traditional job breakdown format, which does take some time. I was telling Natalie a little bit earlier, when you do this by hand or you do it on a whiteboard, it's a nice iterative process that you as a team and your team members can build out and have some good dialogue. But if you're trying to do it efficiently, it can be a little bit painstaking. So starting simply with this as my reference point, the GPT is going to take a look at this, ask me for a few other pieces of the puzzle here. It's saying it knows what it wants to do, turn it into a job breakdown sheet, but it's asking me a couple again of the header details. So let me just fill that in quickly. I'm a bookkeeper working in the front office accounts. I'm preparing it. I'm doing it today's date, Rev 1. Let's say it needs some invoices. And then use description. So let's take a little bit of time here to have this build out. So it sees that the screenshot's giving it 20 steps, which are a lot of steps. What I'll have it do is say, consolidate this where it makes sense. Purpose of the job breakdown sheet, or JBS. There you go. So it's taking it into the draft form, has the header detail, and then now you see that come to life just the way that we were looking at it here. Important steps, the key points, and the reasons. Following those three key conditions, injuring the person, make or break the job, make it easier to do. For us, obviously, with the invoice process, it's going to be around quality and making it simpler. And so that's what it's seeing here, quality around each of these, and then perhaps some elements of making it simpler to do. And that took that 20-step standard work template there and then put that into 8 much more concise steps. Likewise, simplified some of the language around the key points and the reasons. But I can obviously take that now, and my job within this job instruction piece is to use that for training. And then the validation is to say, has the team member learned how to do that effectively? And that would be the test we could do. But again, saves me a lot of time needing to put that together by hand. So the next step is saying turn that into a Word ready table to download and use. I'm going to say yes and do that. And then it'll download that to the computer here. I'll just use this one that I've already just done. And you'll see immediately that I have this come to life. I can tailor this as I need to, format it, throw my company logo on there or whatever. But again, as a draft reference point or initial reference point that my team members can go off and take and instruct with, it's a beautiful starting point. So there you have it, how to turn standard work into a traditional job breakdown sheet format that can then be the basis for your job instruction and improvement from that point. So hopefully you see the use of that. And then I'm going to quickly have Natalie go ahead. She's the wizard behind the curtain on this one. If you can show us briefly how you put that GPT together, Natalie would appreciate that.
Of course. So I will show you where to go in ChatGPT in order to do that. And then I'll also show you the text that I entered in ChatGPT and the custom GPT. So on ChatGPT, you want to go in this little section right here, and you want to create a new GPT. So you're going to create, and you'll see that there are several sections that need to be configured. And I'll walk you through the text itself. But the sections are the name of the GPT, the description, what it's intended to do, and then you give it the instruction. This is the heart of that custom GPT that you'll be able to use. It's like a bot, but it's not a bot. But once you have the instruction, it's what's actually guiding you to create the model of the job breakdown that you're looking for. A conversation starter is basically what's going to show up on the main page when you first start using that particular GPT, and so on. You can also choose, if you unclick the web search, for example, you can use it offline pretty easily. And I'll show you here the text of what was entered into all of these sections of the custom GPT. So, um, so the name of this particular bot was Job Breakdown Assistant. The description is basically it's going to help you to create a job breakdown that captures step-by-step role activities and so on. And then we assign it a role. We always want to tell ChatGPT the role that it's playing in all of this so that it's putting on that hat and helping you through the process in that from that perspective. And then the main part, the instructions that I was mentioning earlier, is basically process and style. So the process itself is what it's going to be collecting from you. So it's collecting metadata. What is the role that you're trying to do the job breakdown for? Where in the facility that particular role is working? Who's actually putting the job breakdown together? The revision, what tools and materials are needed, and so on. And then you build the steps. You're asking the user to enter a few things. One is, what are the important steps within that job, one by one? And then for each of those steps, what are the key points, the tasks? How do we ensure that this is done correctly and safely and more easily? We also, for each of those key steps, ask the why. And then after that, after all of that information is entered, one important step after another, then ChatGPT will compile it into the format that Ben was just showing you. So it's the table of important step, the what, the key points, the how, and then the reasons why. We also give it some formatting instructions, and we also give it the style of how we want ChatGPT to be conversing with the user. And this is how we build the custom GPT.
Awesome.
Ben.
Thanks, Natalie. Yeah, so that was on our minds, guys, guys and gals, as a way to put together a combination of a very proven practice with this training within industry job breakdown format, and then pulling that together, obviously, with our ability to make life more efficient now. So hope that is helpful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.